Hello. Hopefully you can hear me. I think you can hear me. Welcome to another awkward episode of Who's Your Caddy? I am obviously struggling right now. I am your host, Kelly Singh, and this broadcast is brought to you by Club Fantasy, a production of Women of Fantasy Football, expanding out into the golf space, bringing you DFS picks for the PGA Tour. I am in the midst of traveling, getting settled back into my routine in California at the Trophy Smack offices. Normally, I'm coming to you when I'm here from like our conference room or even from my apartment, but it's been a little hectic. I've been away for about more than a month with FSGA, with Super Bowl, with family stuff, with personal stuff. But here I am back in the office. This is our fabulous bowling alley. The lighting is garbage, but that's okay. Today, I am bringing you picks along with my co-host Adam, who I'll bring in shortly, for the Valspar Championship, which kicks off on this Thursday, March 16th at, where are we at? The Copperhead course within the Innisbrook Resort in Palm Harbor, Florida. This is the last stop of the Florida Swing. It's not the most star-studded field. I mean, we do have our Justin Thomases and our Jordan Spieths, but other than that, I mean, it's just a lot of good golf, in my opinion. So we're going to talk about that. I also want to talk results. So last week in my article, there were 13 of 14 players who made the cut. The player who didn't make the cut happened to be my very favorite, Mr. Kind Eyes, Matt Kuchar. Did not make the cut. That's okay. On the podcast, I'm going to add a little asterisk. I had mentioned Chris Kirk as being a potential pick for your DFS build. Chris Kirk did not make it into my article, but I did mention him on the pod. He did not make the cut. So in the spirit of transparency, total results, 12 of 14 last week made the cut. If you're looking for winners, stick around. We have an amazing list of results. My co-host Adam at Mr. Hallas also picked some big ones, going 9 for 9 to make the cut last week here on the pod. Let's welcome Adam Hallas.
Hello.
Hey. I was waiting for like applause. Like we need an applause machine or something.
Yeah, doesn't James Gordon just have like a little hype button or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. Wendy's chiming in. She can't watch this early, but's going to watch the replay. I apologize for the earliness, but, you know, we're flexible. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
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 I'm super excited because not only has it been a crazy busy work day, I'm back in the office. I've brought the rain with me to California, and the day I leave next week, the sun comes out. But my very good friend, Fiona, I have known her for like 15 years. We started mom blogging together. She is coming to meet me for dinner tonight, and I am so excited. I just thought I'd throw that out there. So there's this no. I live near a really cool area called Old Town Orange, and there's a restaurant called Boss Cat Kitchen, and it's like a bourbon bar, and they have super great food. It's like one of those scratch kitchen kind of places.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but it's really good, and I'm really excited.
One of those scratch kitchen places where they have like tomato paste and it's really just ketchup.
Probably, but they have this jalapeno like chicken sandwich thing. Oh my gosh, it's so good. So good, you guys.
Sounds good.
I know it's not very golfy, but I don't know. Anything exciting for you this evening?
No, not this evening. Had a good weekend in golf. Went to a hockey game, so it was all good. Yeah. Going 9 for 9 this week, and went altogether. I think I'm 17 of 18 for the past 2 weeks, so it's not too bad.
That is fantastic. We're on a roll, that's for sure.
Till this weekend.
Till this weekend? No. This weekend I'm feeling super good about also. Both of us managed to double up last week and then some. So that was exciting. And we had different lineups, which makes it even more exciting. So out of both of our picks, we both had different lineups and still both of us managed to double up in the money. I love that.
Just use the pool.
Just use the pool. Although if you used Matt Kuchar, not even Scotty Scheffler could save that lineup. That's okay. This week, we're at Valspar Championship. We're on the Copperhead course. There's a thing called the Snake Pit you're probably going to want to talk about. I don't know. Why don't you give us the rundown on the tournament this week?
Well, it's 7,300 yards. And it is a tiger-proofed course. So back in the early 2000s, there was this phase of tiger-proofing courses. Basically, most courses would just extend the holes. So basically build another tee box a little bit farther back from the green. And they thought that would help in creating distance between the tee box and the hole. Well, lo and behold, people just hit it farther. But Copperhead course was one of the few that actually tiger-proofed it, and so that's creating some, shape shifting shots. And really, the average distance drive here is, I think, like low 270s. You can't really, it is not a bomber's course. You can't, you could bomb it, but there's not really anything that it's tree line fairways, and they reward you more for laying up your shots. You'll notice I took a studying the course, like a lot of the beginning of the fairway is wider and then gets skinnier as it gets closer to the green. So they really don't reward bombers in this course. In fact, there's a tree in the middle of the fairway, I think in hole number 6. Just wandering in the middle of the fairway. There's water on a few of the beginning holes in the front 9. There's mostly water on the back 9. It plays like TPC in a sense that I think on number 16, we're on TPC on 18, you had that big hole that kind of went around the lake as a shape-shifting shot. On 16 here, it's just the opposite. It's going around the other side, going around the lake. So you have water in play, a lot of holes. You have bunkers surrounding the greens, tree-lined fairways. So transition to the stats that we're going to talk about. It's similar to what last week is.
Transitioning to stats. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I am like super distracted right now. That's okay.
That's good.
Transitioning to stats. Tiger proof. What more can we say? I have still been using the exact same process that I've been using this entire season with very good success. So I'm not making changes to that. I am, however, doing a little bit more sprinkling.
Well, it's just like I talked about last week. Yeah.
A little more sprinkle. So this week, you already mentioned distance is not something that's going to come into play here. The fairways are very tight. They're tree lined. We're really looking at accuracy. Another thing while I was researching this course, and you may have mentioned, but I might have missed it, is that greens are really hard to hit here. So greens and regulations is something else that I'm taking into effect. Par 3 scoring, the 5 par 3s on this course. Approach, paired with a little sprinkling of par 5 scoring due to the 3 par 5 holes, which isn't anything crazy abnormal, but thought I'd weigh those out kind of evenly. And some putting, little putting sprinkle there. We're on Bermuda grass again this week. What about you? Anything else you're looking at?
I'm looking at sand save. I'm looking at scrambling. I'm looking for ball striking. So tee to green, I'm looking at how the whole golfer kind of plays the course. And I'm looking at good drive percentage as well as some of the stats that you I brought up before. I am, however, not tossing in putting. Similar to last week, I didn't toss in putting and it seemed to work out well. And the only reason it seems to work out for me is only because I think everyone's going to have problems. So unless you're Justin Thomas and can't make a 4-foot putt repeatedly, then I think.
Well, we talk about what's important. Accuracy is super important this week. And then I go and look at some of the favorites and some of the rankings. And some of these guys are not accurate at all, at least as far as the last 10 events have gone. They're not playing for accuracy. That doesn't mean that once they get at home on this course, for instance, Sam Burns has won this event twice in a row, does not show up on my radar at all, does not look like a course fit at all. That doesn't mean Sam Burns couldn't come in and have a three-peat, which is unheard of. But when I look at the data, when I trust the process, I don't see him on my radar. So when we give these picks, I think take that into consideration. We are weighing this based on the course, based on how the players have been playing recently, based on a lot of various factors. And so some of the favorites may not show up, and that's okay. I've come to terms with being okay with that. And that's fine because I'm winning, y'all. Let's talk about the high end of the pay scale here. We're looking at salaries from 9 through 11,000, I believe, right now. My favorite pick, and he also came to the top of my weighted model, was Justin Rose. Justin Rose has been on our radar for many of the last several weeks. He's been playing well. He's one of those tried and true, slow and steady, consistent type of players. What do you say, old man golf?
Old man golf, yeah.
That's Justin Rose, and that's okay. Ranks first in my model, has just been playing really well. Looks like I stopped typing after that, but Justin Rose is checking all the boxes for me at 9.6 on DraftKings, 11.1 on FanDuel. Where are you at?
I like Justin Rose as well. He is in my grouping for the expensive picks as well. In my model, he is up at the top. And so I agree with Justin Rose. I think he'll do well here. And one thing that I forgot to mention is it's going to be windy this week. And so keeping those shots low, I think he'll know, just with his experience and with the old man golf, Justin Rose will be suited quite well for this course, plus the elements.
I am glad that you like Justin Rose also. Who else do you like outside of Justin Rose?
Adam Hadwin. I think Hadwin kind of checks those boxes that you talked about. You know, when you start to look at him, he's third in my model. Par 3 scoring, he's great. And then we talk about scrambling, stand save, he's doing pretty good. And then we look at his approach. His approach shots are pretty dang good. He's not long, but we don't need him to be long. And so he's got good drive accuracy and good drive percentage as well. And so I think he'll do well. His approach is good. He's got some decent event history here. Did pretty well last year. Didn't do well the year before. So a little up and down, but I think he's trending in the right direction.
I think so too. I had him in my lineup as well in my pools. I didn't choose him necessarily as one of my picks, but Hadwin, excuse me, I'm choking. Hadwin did pop up in my initial pass. Then going through, where'd you say he ranked in your model?
He's third.
He's second in mine. So yeah, I liked Hadwin, but when I went to make a choice, I was weighing it out. And instead of Adam Hadwin, I went with, or even Keegan Bradley, to throw that out there. I went with Brian Harmon. Brian Harmon, 9-1 on DraftKings, 10-6 on FanDuel. He happens to rank 13th in my model. So don't let that throw you, though. We're talking about an entire field of players. And when I look at the data, the reason he's ranking 13th is because I weighted approach, fairly decent amount, not a whole lot, but he struggles more than others in my pool with his approach. So that's going to drag him down. But where he makes it up is in his drive. Brian Harmon is ranking third in this field in accuracy, second in this field in good drive percentages, 12th in this field in greens and regulations. So I'm kind of weighing that out, relying on that, trusting the process, as we like to say, to get the job done. So there are several picks in this top range that I think are going to bring in plenty of fantasy points, but those happen to be our faves, and I'll type them in the chat. I know Wendy likes that. Why don't you kick us off for the middle priced picks, 8,000 to 9,000 ish.
8,000 to 9,000 ish. So I got Ben Griffin. Ben Griffin. This is a model pick and a riding a horse pick. So he did pretty well, pretty dang good at TPC in some pretty strong wins. And so I think he's continuing that trend. He was so close. I mean, he was just kicking butt Friday and Saturday. And those wins kind of came in Sunday, and I was like, he's not going to do well. It ended up, kind of a bad Sunday, but overall, he did pretty well. So I like Ben Griffin has no experience here, but he's trending in the right direction. His last 3 events, he's been averaging, 30 plus position. And his approach shots and his driving is okay. He doesn't have the best accuracy, but his approach and getting to the green, I think, are fine. And I think he has great scrambling and sand saves. So I'm hoping that the lower drive accuracy doesn't hurt me, but I'm going with Ben Griffin.
Makes me super nervous, actually.
Definitely.
I will keep my fingers crossed for you on that. Ben Griffin, I am, that one really makes me nervous, and I hate it when I look at your picks and I'm like, I don't know, am I looking at it wrong? But I happen to feel like the approach is important, obviously. Around the green is important. If he's not going to be accurate, he needs those things. But I feel like this is such a hard course. It's so tight. I really want to play it safe. So my picks are more on the safer side of accuracy. That's not to say Ben Griffin isn't a great pick at all, because your record speaks for itself. But I went with KH Lee. Happens to rank third in my model, 8,000 on DraftKings, 9.8 on FanDuel. Great value in my mind. And looking at the data, I was looking like, man, why is he ranking so high? It's not necessarily a name that I would have thought would have ranked third in my model, but because he is ranking higher than most on these par 3 scoring average and even par 5 scoring average. He's ranking 10th, I believe. That's probably why. That's a big part of it, being able to birdie a par 3 when there are so many of them. That's going to be key. So I'm going with H. Lee here. My second one, I'll throw that out as I'm choking. JT Poston. I am going to one day say it right, but JT Poston, DK 8-1. So both of these are really good values in my mind. 9-8 on FanDuel, ranking 12th in my model versus KH Lee's third. But when I look at it, greens and regulations, again, he ranks 5th in this field for greens and regulation and 2nd in a par 5 scoring average, which isn't huge. But when we talk about accuracy and greens and regulations and having a good drive, he ranks 13th in that. It's kind of where I landed with good old JT Poston. What about you? Mid-range, give me another.
Wyndham Clark.
Oh,
I know, right? So I went with Wyndham Clark here, and there's a few reasons. I almost went with KH Lee because I can see why you picked him. But for me, he's my nervous Ben Griffin, so I'll keep my fingers crossed for you. But I picked Wyndham Clark because on his approach, he's not bad. He's a little bit iffy on the drive accuracy, but I'm hoping, again, this group, Ben Griffin and Wyndham Clark, are the approach brothers. They're not the drive brothers. And so I'm hoping that they kind of take that in effect and just don't try to bomb their way through this course and kind of muscle their way through. Some might call the Bryson DeChambeau the course. He plays on the Live Tour, kids. And so outside of that, I got Wyndham Clark.
Wyndham Clark. I went and just looked at that to see what I may have been missing, but you're right. They're actually very close in skill set when I look at them on this course. So you're not necessarily relying on the accuracy with either of these players, but more so that approach around the greens ability. And I think that's admirable. Admirable.
It's like I
Okay.
just handed you a homework assignment. You're like, oh, that's great. And you hung it up on the fridge and just covered it with all the other stuff.
E for effort.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I will totally end up eating my words. I have no doubt.
Oh, is this a cow? It's got 6 legs. It's really great. Let's go put this over here.
Okay. Let's talk lowest tier. We're looking at trying to get a ton of value with whatever's left in our wallets, 6 to 7K or something around that. I really, I don't know. I struggled with who I liked best here.
It's hard, especially down at
it's
that range.
hard. I'm gonna go with Dylan Wu, 6.8 on DraftKings, 8.1 on FanDuel, which is great pricing for both platforms. He ranked out 10th in my model, all things considered. And oddly enough, this is a fun fact. Dylan Wu and Brandon Wu almost have identical skill sets on this particular course when I'm looking at the various weighted items. Mm-hmm. However, Dylan Wu has the edge when it comes to driving, which is key this week. 3rd in good drive percentage out of this entire field, 4th in greens and regulations out of this entire field. And, I don't need to keep beating a dead horse, but I really am feeling that's the safe play this week. So Dylan Wu.
Dylan Wu, I like it. I did look at him. Yeah, I like it.
Give me one of yours.
Okay, so I'll go with number 2, and then we can talk about my number 1 in this group. Robbie Shelton. I think Robbie Shelton. He's had a bumpy road last week and the week before, but I think his the stats that we talked about. I think he does well here. I think this is going to be a course fit for him. Even though, and I'm double checking here, I don't think he has history here. So I think he'll shake out well here. Some of the things I was looking at, and I was like, well, do I really want Bobby Shelton because he didn't do so well last week, and that was a similar course. Um, he got 88th here last time he played. But before TPC, and there were tougher courses in that Florida swing, he did okay. He was in the 20s and 30s. And what got him there was that approach. He's not long off the tee. He has a pretty decent good drive percentage and great sand save percentage as well. And his par 5 and his par 3 are pretty comparable as well. So I like Robbie Shelton for his price.
I also like Robbie Shelton. I was gonna pick him too, but again, there were a few in here between the top tier and the bottom tier. There were several.
Is that why the
I'm
asterisk
like,
is on there?
Yes, little asterisk. He was in my very first pool, and then when I shook it out, he still hung around in there. In the where did he end up? Robbie Shelton, 19th in my modeling. So yeah, and he's really well priced. 7.5 on DraftKings, 9.2 on FanDuel. Pushing it a tad, but still well below the 2,000 mark that's often there between the two platforms. So yeah, I like Robbie Shelton as well. I would have picked that. I also like Joel Damon here. 7.5 on DraftKings, 9.5 on FanDuel. That's the typical spread. Comfortable playing it on DraftKings. I don't know why those 9s make me so uncomfortable on FanDuel. They do give you an extra 10,000 in your salary cap, but it doesn't seem to help once you get over 9,000. Joel Damon, he played okay last week. He did make the cut. He's a much better course fit this week than even last week, and course fit is one of my criteria, so he fits the course. He is one of the stronger players in this field when we're talking about familiar names this season, and even the end of last season, he really started to make his name known. Ranking 6th in my model. He stands out in accuracy, good driving percentage, and I'm throwing in some putting just to make it all worthwhile. I'm noticing that your next bottom tier pick is also my WTF pick. Tell me why you are choosing this guy. Spill the beans.
Just to piss you off. So my number one, I wouldn't say bottom of the barrel because these guys grinded out and a lot better golfer than I am, but Akshay Bhatia. Now you're like, who? Well, Akshay has he ranked out second in my model. I'm like, what the fuck? And so I can see why you put him in that section. But his accuracy and his approach shot are just amazing. And his good drive percentage is almost 90%. Accuracy is there. The greens in regulation, he's one of the top in this field. So Akshay is my top guy in this price range. So yeah.
I can't argue with you. I was going to put it in my low tier picks as well, and then I thought this would make a fun what the fuck because nobody knows who this guy is. That's the fun part. It's just so fun to see this 21-year-old kid on the Corn Ferry Tour. He's playing in the Puerto Rico Open. and earns enough points to get this temporary tour card, like it's totally a Cinderella story. And being that we're in the midst of March Madness, there's got to be some magics happening. So I like it. 7-5 on DraftKings, 9,000 on FanDuel, and second overall in my model. Why? Because in this field, first in stroke gain on approach, first in good drive percentage, first in greens and regulations. That's just the start of it. This kid is an excellent golfer, and I'm super excited to watch him play. I think that's the best part of all of it.
I think he's going to do well. And of everything that you talked about, and it's a strong field, but it's a smaller purse. And next week is going to be a smaller purse, and then we jump up a little bit. But before the Masters, but he's not going to be starstruck. Playing with a lot of these guys, they're not going to be bombing it off the tee. So I think this is going to be a perfect tournament for him to kind of get instituted into the PGA way of life. So
I like it. I'm really excited. I can't wait for golf this week because sometimes we miss like the actual good golf. I hate to say that. I mean, obviously Scotty Scheffler, John Rahm, Rory McIlroy, like all of these stars are so exciting to watch. But there are, like you said, these guys that are really grinding it out and they just play good golf. It's just entertaining. So, yeah, I'm stoked. Tell me, who is your WTF this week?
Mr. Tyler Duncan.
Who?
Yeah, I know. I also looked at David Lingmerth because that name popped up last week. But I'm going with Mr. Tyler Duncan here. He, for where his price is, he kind of shakes out okay. He's 6th in the field for good drive percentage. Drive accuracy, he's 11th. Off the tee, he's 10th. He's got a little problem around the green, but his approach isn't bad. And then he's not bad in sand saving and scrambling. So I'm going with Mr. Tim. I look like I sell insurance, Duncan.
When you were looking at the course, I noticed you did have sand save as part of your criteria. Are we seeing a lot of sand here? I missed that part if we are.
Around the greens, there's a lot of sand. So like in the collection area and stuff like that.
Imagining that things have gone awry.
Especially if there's wind. If you're going to pop up those shots to kind of, stick the ball to the green, I see some wayward shots going left or right.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I'm just adding the rest of these picks here to the chat, and I think that's really it. I mean, like I said, we've been on a tear, making great picks well into the 70 percentages when it comes to making the cut. The first step in winning your DFS contest is to make sure all your guys make the cut. Otherwise, you're on the struggle bus for sure. So stick with us. I mean, after I get these numbers in, I would be shocked if I'm not up to 79% making the cut. Right now, sitting at 78% making the cut. I still haven't done the math on the average position. I want to do that. Maybe I'll do that tonight not tonight because I'm going out to dinner. Maybe I'll do that one of these nights in the next 2 weeks while I'm sitting in my apartment all bored and alone. Sad.
Oh. Okay.
But didn't you say your average position was like 24th or something like that?
It's in the mid-20s. I didn't do it yet for last week. But yeah, I'm
fine.
sitting at 28th.
I think that is excellent, if I must say. If I look distracted, it's because I am. I'm copying and pasting your last name in the chat. Wendy, this is how much I love you. I am making sure all of the picks get pumped in there for you. So just to wrap it up, our WTF picks. What the fuck? I picked Akshay Bhatia, newcomer from the Corn Ferry Tour. And Adam picked Tyler Duncan, lower tier. We both liked Robbie Shelton, but Adam officially picks Robbie Shelton and Akshay Bhatia. I picked Dylan Wu, not to be confused with Brandon Wu. Dylan Wu and Joel Damon. The middle tier, we are at... Oh, I lost it. KH Lee for me and JT Poston. Adam picked Ben Griffin and Wyndham Clark. And top tier, we both like Justin Rose. Go Rosie. I also picked Brian Harmon, and Adam picks Adam Hadwin, which I also like that one too. That's a good one, Adam.
Yep, it is.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Sorry for my poor lighting. Sorry for the time change. If you're watching the replay, be sure to tweet us. I'm at Kelly in Phoenix. Adam is at Mr. Hallas. Let us know if you have any questions, if you want us to look at anything. You know I love doing that. We'll see you next week. Awkward wave time. Ready? Go. Wait. Okay, go.